Talking about a revolution sounds. Don't you know? Talking about a revolution, it sounds like a whisper. While they're standing in the welfare lines, crying the doorsteps of those armies of salvation, wasting time in the uniformed lines, sitting around waiting for a promotion. Don't you know? Talking about a revolution sounds. Who are people gonna rise up and get their share? Who are people gonna rise up? Take what's theirs. Don't you know you better run, 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 run. Oh, I said you better run, 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 run. It's finally the table I'm starting to turn. It's finally the table I'm starting to turn. It's finally the table I'm starting to turn. It's finally the table I'm starting.
Yes. Ladies and gentlemen, today is the 24th day of July 2014. And if you can hear the sound of my voice, then you are the revolution. My name is Smokin Mekhael, and this is the Revolutionary Nightly News, bringing you truth, love and freedom on this worldwide transmission. There are so many things happening all over the world. Wars and rumors of wars. What's happening in the Ukraine, what's happening in Palestine, what's happening in areas of Africa, all over the Middle East, South America, Asia. The Illuminati, New World Order, scumbags seek to instill fear in the population, and they seek to sacrifice people to the dark forces that they worship on a daily basis, and they do this through endless wars. But through the power of information, through the power of love, we're able to decipher what's happening. We're able to see that they're controlling both sides of the opposition, and that it's a rigged game, and that it's not going to last much longer. From globalresearch.ca, Malaysian Airlines MH17, another false flag operation by the US, NATO, Israel war cabal. One would have thought that the Zionist Anglo-American war cabal would learn from their failures in propaganda warfare, especially now when their credibility is at rock bottom. Post 9/11 and the Iraq wars, people the world over have got wiser to the devious propaganda ploys orchestrated by the global mass media. Pointing an accusing finger within an hour of a false flag operation no longer carries any weight, even if it is repeated hour on the hour by CNN, Fox, BBC, etc., without an iota of evidence. Obama and Hillary Clinton, war criminals and mass murderers, for all the bravado and rhetoric, sound hollow and come across as devious and opportunistic. That's exactly what they are. Devious, opportunistic, murderous criminals. People are waking up to the lies. 9/11, going into Iraq, going into Afghanistan, Libya, Syria, trying to push into the Ukraine now. These were all based on false flag evidence that has come out to be proven to be a false flag over and over and over again. They fabricate things like Saddam Hussein having chemical weapons. They fabricate things like Bashar al-Assad attacking his own people with chemical weapons, when it was their forces, the rebels, the Al-Qaeda, ISIS, bastard child of the CIA, who were attacking Syrian civilians with these chemical weapons. They're lying again and again and again, and people are finding out. People are through with the lies. They're not watching CNN, they're not watching Fox, they're not watching Channel 7, they're not watching Channel 9. They're watching the revolution, because the independent media is where the truth is really at. I'm not getting paid a cent to do this. I'm not getting popular to do this. I'm not winning any friends by doing this. I'm not helping my DJ career by doing this. I'm doing this out of a spirit of love and freedom and a real urge, a yearning to help the people of the world reach freedom. Further developments. This MH17 operation, they came out on the mainstream news prostitute propaganda pieces straight away and said, oh, Russia's involved, this has got to be Putin, trying to stoke World War III, trying to poke the bear with nuclear weapons, trying to get us into thermonuclear war. I'm not saying the Russians or the Putin is a good guy. They are playing the countries off of each other, like in 1984 with Oceania, Eurasia and East Asia, where they're all controlled by the same nefarious forces, and at one point they're attacking this side and the other point they're allies with this side. When it's all a big scam, the bankers, the politicians, their children aren't dying in these conflicts, but the poor people, their children are dying on a daily basis. So much evidence has already surfaced of MH17 being a false flag, from recordings that looked like they were being faked between a Ukrainian rebel. And there are so many other pieces of evidence that stack up. I'll let you research that for yourself. But there have been further developments with 2 military jets shot down over Donetsk. And this is going along with their policy of escalation. I really don't want to see any more conflict. I don't want to see any more bloodshed. I don't want to see a world war develop. That's why, through the power of the media, the real revolutionary truth media, I'm getting this message out to you in the hope and in the belief and in the knowledge that you will research it for yourself and figure out that the establishment is lying to you. Moving on to the ongoing war in Israel and Gaza. The US lifts ban on flights to Israel as the Gaza toll tops 700. Israel won a partial reprieve from the economic pain of its Gaza war on Thursday with the lifting of a US ban on commercial flights to Tel Aviv, while continued fighting pushed the Palestinian death toll over 700. Israel won a partial reprieve from the economic pain. How about the Palestinians? Now, I'm really not taking sides in any conflict. I don't want to see any blood shed. But you got to see that this is all being constructed, and this has been constructed for a long time to inflict maximum casualties. There have been atrocities committed on both sides, such as the case in almost all conflicts. And I saw this video of a sniper killing a wounded Gaza civilian, and there are lots of these floating around. I'm not going to play the video. It's pretty graphic. I don't want to demonize one side or the other. I want you to realize that you don't belong to either of these conflicts. Even if you may be a Philistine, you may be from Palestine, you may be Israeli, you may be Jewish. Doesn't matter where you're from. We are all human beings, and we shouldn't kill each other. We shouldn't hurt each other. And we know that innately, but we live in a system that's been manipulated and corrupted so that this happens on a daily basis, and it's time for it to stop. The Islamic State, or ISIS, says that it carried out Baghdad suicide bombing. Of course, how many millions have died in Iraq off the back of a false flag attack, 9/11? Islamic State militants claimed responsibility on Wednesday for an overnight suicide bombing in a Shiite district of Baghdad, which killed 33 people. One of the deadliest recent attacks on the Iraqi capital. The hardline Sunni Islamist group, which has led an offensive through northern and western Iraq, said the explosion in Kademaya, site of a major Shiite shrine, was carried out by a fighter named as Abu Abdul Rahman al-Tunisi. All of these sides are controlled, like the analogy that I mentioned with 1984, Eurasia, East Asia, and Oceania. One day, America's fighting against Al-Qaeda. The next day, they're allies with Al-Qaeda. It's such a devious plot that anyone with a bit of intelligence, with a bit of courage, can see through it. But people are distracted by celebrities, by sports, by trash, by gossip. And people don't have the courage to look into their heart and see what's really going on. I implore you to look within yourself and find the courage for the sake of the future generations of this planet. Have some courage. Grow a set. Get into the fight, because this is the fight of your life. Another example, I was just saying how this is an Orwellian plan with different forces all controlled by the same hand fighting against each other and being allies the next day. Benjamin Netanyahu, the Israeli president, or the prime minister, excuse me, endorses ISIS invasion of Iran. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu would like to see the Al-Qaeda spin-off ISIS attack Iran in a repeat of the Iran-Iraq war, a conflict that lasted 8 years and cost Iraq over 500,000 lives and Iran more than 750,000 lives. Netanyahu told the United States to stay out of the fight currently developing in Iraq and allow both sides to annihilate each other. Don't strengthen either of them, weaken both, he advised. And of course, this is a very old tactic from the art of war, from maybe before that. It's a divide and conquer tactic. You want two people, you want to take them both out, let them fight amongst each other and then come in when they're weak. It's as old as warfare itself. More evidence that the US, the CIA, they run ISIS, they run Al-Qaeda. This evidence is legion. Look it up for yourself. If you're watching this, you got access to a computer. You have the entire world of information at your fingertips. Just search engine. CIA runs ISIS. CIA created Al-Qaeda. Blowback. US trained ISIS at secret Jordan base. Terrorists trained in 2012 by US instructors working at a secret base in Jordan. Members of the Islamic State of Iraq and the Levant, or ISIS, were trained in 2012 by US instructors working in a secret base in Jordan, according to informed Jordanian officials. The officials said dozens of ISIS members were trained at the time as part of covert aid to the insurgents targeting the regime of Syrian President Bashar al-Assad in Syria. The officials said the training was not meant to be used for any future campaign in Iraq. They're going to use them all over the place. This is their modus operandi. This is what they use. They train these people from the Mujahideen in the 70s, and it's spun off from there, from even before that. It's a divide and conquer strategy, and we're waking up to it. There is a global awakening because of the internet, because of the information out there, because of people who have blazed a trail and had the courage to speak this out. People are waking up from their coma, and I call on you to wake up. And you think this doesn't affect you? You think this is only affecting people in the Middle East who look a little bit different? I'm telling you, it's going to come home. If you disregard and if you don't have care for other people who are suffering and who are being attacked on the other side of the world, then no one's going to care when people start coming for you. And this is how they want to get Australia involved in this global conflict. Australian troops may deploy to Ukraine. Bishop. Australia could be part of an international deployment sent to eastern Ukraine, with Foreign Minister Julie Bishop heading to the war-torn nation with her Dutch counterpart to discuss how best to secure the MH17 crash site. They want Australian troops. Could be someone you know. Could be a friend of yours. Could be someone in your family to go over to this war zone to get themselves embroiled into this conflict. I don't want any war. I don't want conflict. I want you to find out that the people who are pulling these strings and pulling off these false flag attacks are trying to pull the wool over your eyes. Consider me the one who's going to show you the door. To quote Morpheus again from The Matrix, I can only show you the door. You're the one who wants to go through it. Some people have criticized me for not having enough evidence on my show. If I went through all the evidence on this show, it would be more than a 4-hour broadcast every day. I just want to show you the door. It's up to you to research it and go through it. I implore you to look into this. Another article from the Sydney Morning Herald calling on Australia to be part of this war. MH17 means it is time for Australia to help shape a global response. Peter Hartcher, you're nothing but a hatchet man for the New World Order. Nothing but a puppet, nothing but a prostitute, nothing but a pawn in their game. You're not a pawn. The ones watching this broadcast, you see the king, you see the queen within you, you see the strength, the dignity, the courage within you, and you're using that to fight back. The shooting down of MH17 is the second piece of evidence this week for Australia that the age of easy globalization is not just a garden of delights for us to tread. Are you kidding? What kind of absolute morons is this guy talking to? Easy globalization. Easy globalization. Do you mean slave camps in China and India? You mean suicide nets outside the Apple factory? You mean constant war? You mean constant disease? They're the fruits of globalization, not a garden of delights. What an absolute joke. I can't believe the lowered IQ people that he's talking to with this article. The close interconnectedness of the modern world means that a major disturbance anywhere can inflict harm everywhere. Earlier this week, we saw more evidence that young Australians are being drawn to the Syrian civil war to take sides and engage in combat. You mean the war that CIA is running with their ISIS and with their Al-Qaeda? Are you kidding me? This raises the risk that some will return and seek Australian targets for their jihadist violence. We are under attack. We may be under attack in different parts of the world from the jihadists. But what you have to realize is the people who are committing this jihad are nothing but pawns of the globalists who are just using them to create chaos, and they can make order out of that chaos. That's how they work. It's called the Hegelian dialectic, problem, reaction, solution. Look it up. Read a book. Turn off your television. Switch on your mind. Switch on your human potential. You have so much potential within you. Indeed, the federal government told us that some tens of them probably already have managed to return undetected. This phenomenon represents the most serious domestic security threat in decades, according to Attorney General George Brandis. They're trying to bring the war home. Don't think you can get away with watching the football and watching the reality television and laughing about it, because it's going to come home to roost. Have the guts to look inside yourself and to stand up for freedom, to stand up for truth, to stand up for peace. Oh, you want to talk about the war coming home? You want to pay taxes to this criminal government? This is what they're spending it on. Abbott's government to buy long-range surveillance unmanned drone. The Abbott government is set to push Australia back into the large-scale unmanned aircraft business by taking the first steps to purchase a high-level long-range surveillance capability. They want drones. You know, drones have the ability to kill anyone, anywhere, remotely. You don't need someone flying the plane. It is a weapon of murder and a weapon of unaccountable murder. Anyone can be pressing that button, and government gets away with it routinely. Another article. Queensland police to trial high-tech surveillance drones to chase criminals. Oh. I'm not even going to go into this garbage. You know what drones do? They kill people. You know how many people Obama has killed with drones in Pakistan? All over the place? More than 2,400 dead as Obama's drone campaign marks 5 years. 5 years ago, on January 23, 2009, a flattened house in Pakistan's tribal regions, a drone flattened a house in Pakistan's tribal regions. It was the third day of Barack Obama's presidency, and this was the new commander-in-chief's first covert drone strike. And I'll read the subheadline, excuse me. Obama has launched over 390 covert drone strikes in his first 5 years in office. You live in Pakistan. It's likely that you're going to know someone who was killed in this, or know someone who's had family who's been killed by someone pressing a button like on a video game thousands of miles away. And this is what they seek to bring globally. This is not a pretty future, but this is not what's going to happen in the future. What's going to happen in the future is a renaissance, is a paradigm shift, is a move towards peace, love, and freedom. Because I believe in you. I believe in your potential. I believe in your heart. And I believe in the truth of your good nature. I know that you want to be good to people. I know that you don't get off on hurting people, on hurting the innocent. I know that you want to protect the innocent. So take a stand with me. Together, we are going to defeat this criminal government. We are going to win freedom. And I believe and declare that peace will soon be upon us. The revolution is here. Woo! Yeah!